Hi, you guys. Um, these are red onions that Melanie Richards bought me from the Gabrielle Chana FOX news channel. And what I'm doing right now is I'm chopping them up. Really, you don't use red onions for spaghetti, but I don't like wasting anything. So what I'm going to do is chop these up. And I've already chopped a whole bunch of stuff up already. Some green peppers, red onions, and then right over here is the wine that she bought me, and I have not had a chance to use this, but this looks like a really high quality wine. Look at this. It says gold here. 2012 Finger Lakes International Wine Competition. Boy, you know that Melanie bought really, really nice ingredients for the Thanksgiving dinner that she had me made. I think she bought sockeye salmon. And oh, was it good. Of course, when I cooked it Italian style. Anyways, what I'm doing now is showing you some of the stuff she bought, and I'm using it to make spaghetti. Um, First time I've ever used red onions for spaghetti sauce, but I have a feeling it's going to give the sauce an interesting flavor. So let me just continue cutting. And I'll show you some of the other ingredients when I get to it. She was great. She actually helped me to cut some of the stuff. This onion's already falling apart. What I usually do is I get a whole onion and I'll cut it up in sections, and then I'll cut it in little squares like I'm doing right here. But she was really helpful. I told her how to cut it, and I told her how to peel the garlic and all that, and we had a lot of cutting to do. Whenever you do Italian cuisine, there's always a ton of cutting to do. Anyways, just showing you what I'm doing here. I'm showing you the leftovers from the dinner. This is a mozzarella cheese that we used to make the salad. This Melanie Richards bought this. She went to Publix. What she did is she came down from Church of Gail, and her car materialized onto the road, and then she drove to a local Publix in my area and went and bought this stuff. I said, oh, you don't have a grocery store at Church of Gail? She says, no, we don't. If we have to go to the grocery store, we have to go down to Earth's. So they do have like a vegetable garden. This is Italian parsley. You know, when she bought the Italian parsley, I said, Melanie, for a salad, you need to use regular parsley. It says the Italians usually use the Italian parsley for sauces because that's a very strong flavored parsley. So what I did was I used half of the parsley that the recipe called for, because Italian parsley is usually used in sauces. But this is going to be perfect for my spaghetti sauce. So even though my recipe in my American cookbook says to use regular parsley, I'm going to use the Italian, and it'll probably even taste better. Now this is Melanie bought this at Publix because I wanted to use fresh herbs, fresh basil. And you know, when Franco Nero was the man in my life, I had my own herb garden right on my deck porch, and I used to go out there and pick fresh herbs every day for dinner. And that's how we had like a pot of basil and rosemary and all that. So I'm going to try to I'm going to put some of this in the spaghetti sauce along with some Italian seasoning. So let me just go ahead and cut all this stuff up. This is garlic. This is what Melanie bought. And I'm going to go ahead and use this for today's spaghetti sauce. This is my celery, but this is the leftovers. So she bought this for me. She buys really high-class ingredients. She apparently makes more money than I do because she's a news reporter, you know. And the Jesuits have stolen all my writing money. Anyways, let me just start chopping this stuff up. You might say, why didn't you film Melanie when she was over there? Well, several reasons. I don't have a camera. I just have this webcam. But even with the webcam, the problem is when the first time that Tyrone Jenkins and Melanie Richards came over, and I started filming Tyrone said, oh, Gail, turn that off. They can get a voice print on me, and they can, you know, and that means when we travel that they can aim a bomb exactly where we're at and kill us. So I said, ooh, okay, I'll turn it off. And that's the reason that I didn't film Melanie, even though it would have been nice to have, you know, had a recording of our visit. I was more concerned about her security and safety than I was trying to make a point or prove that I'm famous or any of that stuff, because I'm not really in. I'm more concerned. That's why I didn't even talk about her coming out to see me. I didn't tell anybody because I didn't want the Jesuits to target her. Because the last time she visited me, I told the whole world she was coming over. And on her way back to Church of Gail, when she was on the freeway, the Jesuits shot missiles at her, and they ended up killing her. So that's why I didn't mention her. Anyways, this is the garlic she bought me. And yeah, I said, Melanie, I'm not going to tell anybody about this visit till I know you're home you're back safe at Church of Gail. And because I kept it secret, because I kept it secret and because I didn't tell anybody, I think that helped make it safer for her. The Jesuits don't like it when somebody from Church of Gail visits me because it makes it appear like, you know, that everything I say is true. So I have to take extra precautions to protect people. Even when Tom McGovern came to visit me in October, I didn't tell anybody about that visit. In fact, this is the first time I mentioned it. He's the filmmaker who might make a documentary about me. And I didn't tell anybody about his visit either. I find if I keep quiet about people that want to visit me, they tend to have safer trips and the Jesuits don't attack them as much. So that's why I don't film them when they're here. Because see, like with Terrence Jenkins, that new cocky that hit Canada, I actually got a Skype recording of him and I put it up at YouTube. And I found out later that because I did that, I gave the Jesuits a voice print. And that made it so that they were able to aim that new cocky with precision accuracy right where Terrence Jenkins was. And it basically, it cost him his life. He actually went to heaven and came back. So I've learned my lesson from that. As much as I might like to share with the world, you know, all of my interactions with my friends, I have to be careful and not make them, you know, not make them an easy target for the Jesuits. So that's why I can't film them. I guess I'm much more concerned about protecting my friends than I am trying to prove to everybody that everything I say is right and that I'm really, you know, friends with all these famous people. So that's the #1 priority with me, is to keep us all safe. Beautiful garlic. It's I love working with ingredients while they're still fresh. Sometimes I let stuff sit in the refrigerator and end up having to throw it out. So I'm trying to not waste food, you know, because I don't have the money to waste. The Jesuits have made sure of that. Looks like I got everything here. Even though the recipe called, I'm doubling the recipe, which would mean 4 cloves of garlic. I love my garlic, so I'm putting in a little bit more. I love my garlic. I'll just go ahead and mince this all down. And then I'll go into this is leftover cassoulet, a French dish that I made several days ago. Melanie's allergic to beans, so I couldn't give her this, but it's pretty tasty. It's a meatless dish, but it's got black beans, northern dried beans, and carrots, and all sorts of ingredients in it. So I'll have that maybe for breakfast. I got to eat that pretty soon. Let me get back to my spaghetti. Like I said, I don't have much of a camera here. What I'm doing in here is, this is garlic. And it's hard to work with this camera. And now I'm going to throw in the other ingredients. These all need to be fried a little bit. And I'll stir it around. I've got the camera in one hand and trying to do this with the other. And this is great, like challenging. Here, let me get this in here. All right, there. What I'm going to do is just stir this around until everything is tender, and then I'll go to the next step. I'm going to have to also cut me some basil. There's the basil right over there. This looks like it'll be about 2 tablespoons. Melanie bought me some really nice fresh herbs here, so I'm going to be chopping this up next. And let me just go and put this camera up for now. this basil smells good. I can just smell that fragrance, man. Nice. It's no wonder the food was so delicious when I made it for them the other day. She just got me nice fresh herbs. It's like, this is really nice basil. So this, I'm doubling up on the recipe, so I'm going to do about 2 tablespoons of fresh basil here and chop it up real good. And then I'll add it to the sauce. So this is just, I have a feeling this spaghetti is going to be really good because the quality of the ingredients are high. So I don't want to waste this beautiful food that Melanie bought for me. So I'm going to throw that in there. Here are my spices. What I did is I substituted Italian seasoning for oregano and marjoram. The Italian seasoning is a combination of oregano and thyme. I actually think this is going to taste better than using marjoram. So that'll be going in there too. So I'm going to be putting that in there. Then I got to add in tomatoes, tomato paste. Oh yeah, let me chop up the Italian parsley. Let's get that done. Yeah, go right there. I've got much more over there. She bought me so much that it was much more than I needed for the recipe. So I'm going to go ahead and use it for spaghetti sauce. Like I said, I don't like wasting food, so I'm going to start. That has a nice smell, that Italian parsley. Actually, it's a little less, but this is a strong flavored parsley, so 3 tablespoons instead of 4 is probably going to be just perfect. This parsley, I'm going to be using 2 cans of tomato paste instead of 1. One's Publix and one's Walmart. And then this is going to be good for the. It calls for 14.5 ounces of diced tomatoes. This is 28. That's good enough. I'm getting kind of bored of tomatoes anyway, so a little bit less tomatoes it'll be fine. So that'll be next, and then I'll put all the ingredients together and start simmering them. Here's what I've got in here so far. Those are all the spices: the Italian parsley, the basil, fresh basil, the dried oregano, and thyme. And I'm going to put this all together and simmer it. And then in a separate dish, I'm going to make meatballs. I don't have eggs for the meatballs, so I think I'm going to omit the eggs and just make it without the eggs. So that's what I'm going to do next. There is the sauce. I switched pans because I need this to cook the pasta in. I didn't really have enough pans to, yeah. So I'll be cooking pasta in that, and I'll be marinating the This is the spaghetti sauce. I'll be marinating that. I'm going to put a cover on it, and then I'm going to make meatballs. The meatloaf. It's green pepper. I put oatmeal in place of breadcrumbs and eggs because that'll help it stick together. Italian seasoning. I put some sea salt in here and onions. And now I'm going to mix it all together with the ground beef right over there, and then make meatballs. Slice pasta. And there it is. And right now I'm working on making meatballs. And once I get that done, I'm going to stick that in the oven for about 10 minutes, and then I'll have my food ready. Meatballs. Actually, I probably should make them a little more organized than this. Yeah. That's good enough. Then we'll go ahead and throw these in the oven here. Oh, I should have put it on the bottom. Okay. Anyways. Okay. It's going to cook for about 15 minutes. There and there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but dinner's ready. There it is. Right there. The meatballs. That's the mozzarella cheese that she bought me. I put that up on top.